to catch up. And if you are, hello, can you talk?
Yes.
Okay,
Is it
okay.
are we live yet?
Yeah, we should be. I'm about to go live on all the places. Here we go. So those of you who are
Cool.
just, yep, I just seen the notification that we're live on Empower Her Wave. I'm about to go live on all the places. Here we go. Panda just
Okay.
joined. Good job. I see you watching. Those of you watching on Facebook, let me make sure we are streaming live. Okay, it's almost there. I see you watching. Those of you watching on Facebook. Oh yeah, see, I hear my echo. So Panda, you're gonna have to mute the whatever you're watching it on.
Okay.
And those of you who are joining us live, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to give it a few minutes. We decided to do this on mine because of the fact that Panda figured out she cannot go live no more. Y'all, Instagram Meta, what's up with that? Like, you took away her superpower. We need to make sure we give it back to her. And so we are now live on my Facebook. And Panda, I have it as the first comment. So what are we doing today? Welcome, my beautiful people. This is so fun. This is my first like collaboration, and I've joined with the amazing Panda Hershey, who has the most incredible name. Garfield just loves it. My son, he laughs every time he hears it. But now he sees you, any pictures, and he's like, "Oh, that's the sad lady," because I showed him the real reunion. So he's like,
Oh,
Mm-mm, "The retrograde is over," Panda said.
yes. It is all better and there's clarity now. But Anacani, I'm so excited to do this, and this is a first for both of us to give this a try, and just whatever happens is what's meant
Yes,
to be, and I'm just grateful for this opportunity to chat about True North and geek out on astrology.
I
And
know.
I'm just so excited.
So those of you who are joining me, whether you're on YouTube, you're on Instagram, or you're following this on my personal Facebook, Panda's going to be sharing it with her stuff. Why are we together? Because we are both beautifully aligned women entrepreneurs. Now, Panda is actually in the same mastermind that I'm part of with Molly Mahoney, our beautiful coach. Shout outs to her because she has an amazing Black Friday offer too. But I was inclined to join forces with Panda specifically because I actually bought her Black Friday offer. If you didn't see the reel that I posted earlier, I gave you pretty much my top like 5 women wellness entrepreneur Black Friday stuff out there because sometimes it's hard. And if you don't have any experiences with some of these people that I've been talking about, you would have to just trust me that I wouldn't recommend them unless they were like, amazing. And Pandas is absolutely amazing. And I've been watching her and Molly, our coach, put this thing together, and it's finally here. It's an incredible deal. You guys literally have see the downtown. You have one day, 4 hours, 25 minutes, and the seconds are going down. To grab this at this 50% offers. She just launched this, so I've been waiting and I took advantage of the Black Friday offer. Now, why is this important? I'm gonna let Panda explain that in a minute. But for me, if you don't know me, this is you're just happy to catch this in your feed. My name is Anacani Walters. I am the owner and founder of EmpowerHER Wave. I'm a nurse and entrepreneur, a mama in her 40s as a first-time mom. I have 2 other businesses. I am myself a wellness entrepreneur. I'm a stand-up master paddleboard instructor, and I'm also a yoga instructor, primarily pre and postnatal. So I run my other 2 businesses based on what I am teaching and coaching women through Empower Her. I did that because I'm also a nurse and entrepreneur. And the unfortunate thing is that I burnt out from nursing twice. I had 2 heart conditions when I was 25, and I was just a hot mess until I started to try to get pregnant in my late 30s. And that's when I realized I was awful at stress management. I really needed to dive more into yoga, do less. And a lot of the things that started to come into play was I am not built like a man. I learned about my cyclic energy. I learned about the fact that the more I push myself, the less that actually happens. I was overstressing my body, myself, and it was just a mess. And so I really started into like cycle syncing. And a lot of the alchemized content method that I teach is about not just syncing your like what you do and the things that you like set out for yourself as an entrepreneur, as a women wellness entrepreneur, because you don't have to be a wellness entrepreneur. A women just in general, we are not men. We're not built like men. We're cyclical. That's why we have menstrual cycles. Even if you're not menstruating because either birth control, medical problems, or surgeries that are not allowing you to have menses, you still cycle through an energy. You are not like a man who basically peaks at a certain age, but they go decades without noticing a dip in their cycle. Women do, and all humans go through a cyclic energy if you follow the lunar cycle, which is something that we all blend in together. And guess what? Panda's the best person to talk to you about this. Now, I bought her Black Friday. She's going to kind of like walk you through my results so that you have an idea of what you're going to get. And so, Panda, amazing Panda, we actually have never met, and I've only known her for a few like months, but I was incredibly excited at this opportunity that she said yes to come live with me because her offer ends tomorrow. And I really wanted you guys to have an opportunity to like check this out because I got my results yesterday and I was mind blown, like seriously. And I said that in the live. And she's now helping me kind of figure out how this plays with my son so that it's important for me to understand where he is, what type of triggers happen, and it's going to make me a better mama. It's going to make me a better entrepreneur because then I can schedule things around what I know is not going to work for him so that I'm not stressed and I'm not stressing my 3 year old. So, Panda, I'm going to hand it to you. I'm going to mute myself so that there's nothing behind me, but I want to just have you kind of introduce yourself and then tell us, because I'm interested too, what inspired you to create True North?
Well, I did not come to astrology until very late in life, probably uh, around 50, and it's something that just really resonated with me. And as I began to study it, it helped me see my own patterns and the patterns of the people around me. And I've put my heart and soul into this work because it's made such a difference in the way that I'm a partner, the way that I'm a mom to my 2 daughters, the way I interact with my parents, um, that I just want that for everyone because we don't get out of this life without being in connection with other people, and if we can have better relationships, just globally, we will be in a much better space as human beings, as a community, a global community. So that's the inspiration behind all of it. And astrology is such a powerful tool um, that it can be overwhelming. When I had my very first astrology reading, it was, like an hour and a half download, and there was so much that by the next day, I couldn't remember anything. And in my studies of astrology, I just came up with this very simple system through my my pattern recognition, I'm going to say superpower. That is my gift, and I could see that um, there was this way of looking at our birth charts in a way that didn't require all this talking and explanation, and that I could distill it down to 14 sentences and give people a way to understand themselves and their cadence or timing in a way that no one else seems to do. And the result of that are these inner compass cards that you got, Anacani, and the key is putting them in order. So people know their sun signs, and that's awesome. Um, and what they don't realize is that that's just a part of them. So if they don't resonate with their sun sign, it could be because they have all these other tools, which are parts of who they are from when they were born, and I help like tease apart the little pieces. It's like they're wiring, and you can see how everything is connected. And by reading these sentences in a specific order, you get to describe your experience of life. And when you do yours and then you do someone else's, you go, oh, they have a very different experience of life. And we kind of know that intellectually, but this helps you actually like feel it and see it and embody it.
That's beautiful. And we talked a little bit before we went live about how I wanted to use this from my perspective in learning my child because he's complex and you've already like read his cards. And so I know that part of us sometimes clash unless I like am educated as to what's happening, so that I can then react better. Because I really think that a key part to parenting is understanding, um, and to go beyond what's wrong. Why are you crying? And we talked a little bit about that. And instead, like there's better ways to, I think, approach children when they're in certain states, when they're doing stuff, when you notice a behavior change. And I think you'll get more from them by instead of ask like children are not adults, they're not equipped with the ability to know a big range of emotions, which is what I teach in my yoga magic, in that we're trying to help people educate their children very early on so that it helps them self regulate when they know that there's more emotions than sad, mad, angry and happy. Like those are the main ones. If you're happy and you know and clap your hands, like those are like that's it. And when we start to teach our children when they're younger, there's anxious, there's disgusted, there's scared, there's anxious. Like, these are things that we need to start instilling and educating our children so that they understand they are not too young. And the younger you can start them, the better they'll be able to communicate. And the better they're communicating, the better that they can self-regulate, and the better that they can self-regulate, the happier everybody's going to be. Let's just put it that way. When you're dealing with a two, I call them terrific twos or awesome threes. And I think it just will help us be better parents, have them have a better communication with us when they get older, and we really need them to come to us when they're in trouble or when they're
Yeah.
being um challenged in their values. um so yeah, I got my cards yesterday because I think I was like, well, I don't want the time to run out and I'll get distracted. So I got my cards, and she had me do my son's first, and then I had to go get my birth certificate because the things that you do need are really your full name, where you were born, the time if you can find it or something close to, and where you were born. So I've done some zodiac like astrology stuff. Not too heavy, but I know like I was born in Scorpio sun and moon. Like I really dug into it because I wanted to learn why I had certain tendencies. And for me, you guys hear me say it all the time that awareness is power. When you learn that this is how you do things, how you respond to stuff, your natural reactions, I feel like that may be how you were born, but it doesn't mean that that's how you have to be forever. Um, and we can learn to be better. Like every day, it changes for habitual stuff that you do, like in a person, is very hard. It is not something that like, oh, well, I know I do this, so now tomorrow I'm not going to. But I think these
Yeah.
cards are super helpful so that they're this reminder of like, okay, this is how I naturally react to this, but I want to be better, or this is the outcome that I want, but I know that this is how I'm going to react. So, like, I need to rethink about this, or gives you, like, for me, I'm one of those that sometimes speaks before she thinks. And then sometimes I realize that it was hurting people because I was like too brutally honest, like no filter. Um, and then I had to like stop and be like, take a deep breath, like do something, count on my fingers to give me some kind of cue to not say what I need to, like what was in my mind to say out loud. And then just kind of like have that anxiety, be comfortable with it, let it build up. And then it just gave my mind that little bit of time to then be like, that probably wasn't the best thing to say. And then kind of actually allows me to listen because I realized I was not a good listener. So
Oh
yeah.
gosh. Oh, that's so beautiful, and what you said, I can see it in the cards. Should we give people a taste of, like, what your cards say? Because you haven't printed them out, I sent you a Google Doc, and so what you'll notice is that in the cards have degrees on them, and part of the exercise is as you go through the modules, the video modules, which are really short, is I'll have you put them in order by degree.
Um,
And
okay.
what you
And for
get to
those, just
do.
real quick, Panda, for those of you watching
Yeah.
on Instagram, you can kind of see on the screen to the right, like a little sliver of the Excel spreadsheet. We are going live in my Facebook page and on YouTube. So if you really want to actually like follow along with us, please feel free. To follow either Panda's probably going to put this on her YouTube and stuff, and you can kind of see, but she did put these out. They actually come in really cool cards. I don't even have household goods. Like what you see here is what we bought. We don't even have a mattress for my son's bed. I just happened to buy this, on Amazon, and things come a lot quicker than they did in Japan. So I just want to point that out to those of you guys who might be catching this on Instagram, that just know, um, if you see it on Facebook or YouTube, you actually can see the whole thing. So, um, Panda, you can keep going, but I just want to like clarify. Like, this isn't what you get. You actually get a PDF that you can actually print out. She just did this for this video with us so that you guys can kind of better get a feel of what the results could look like for you.
Right. So each card has a sentence, and you could see that in the PDF that you got
Mhm.
after you generated your cards. And so the exercise that I have you do is put them in order from lowest to highest, and the Excel spreadsheet actually does that. And the exercise
Oh,
is
okay.
to just read the sentences from top to bottom, and between each sentence, you say the word then. And so give us a sense of that for you, and go ahead and read them.
Okay. So I put my heart into honoring something into beauty and elegance. Then I mindfully act through sensing the feelings of another person. Then I am selective about matching the energy of another person. Then my primal instinct is sensing the feeling of another person. Wow. Then my mind works through matching the energy of another person. Then I experience unintended outcomes through using my body, tools, and resources. I was um, curious about that one because I was like, what does that mean? But I noticed that I had what felt like a lot of repetitive stuff, that because I already know I'm severely empathic, and I didn't know that I was that way until again I did some soul searching because I really knew that I needed to do some what they call in like our space, shadow work, to basically like you need to go through your skeletons. Like it is not about putting them in closets. I had unfortunately a rough childhood, and because I didn't have a great way to like express any of the emotions growing up, I basically rebelled and made a lot of bad decisions in my teens and my 20s. And then, I paid for it in my 30s because I still wasn't like, Panda doesn't know a lot about my backstory, y'all, but like I've said it in some of my podcasts, like I'm a very emotional person, but I grew up where emotions were not celebrated, they were not welcomed. Like you only were supposed to be happy, and if you were anything else, like it was almost punishable. So I grew up, I hated public displays of affection. I did not like people touching me. I did not like being in a large group. I was severely like, felt like I was introverted. Most people would sometimes forget, like my teachers would forget I was in the room because I was so quiet. I didn't say anything. I would cry like if my mom made me do anything publicly, like something as simple as asking ketchup at a fast food restaurant. Like I would be like, no, I'm not going to. Like they're not going to say no to you, and she would push me to the point where I would cry, and then she would get frustrated with me. Um, And I went like that for a really long time until I was like, there's got to be a better way. Like, I cannot be, like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm determined to figure it out. And it really wasn't that nothing was wrong with me, it was just that I wasn't able to express simple emotions. And I
Mm,
feel like there's so many people in my generation that we were brought up very similarly because our parents, like, they drove around and we didn't wear like we did not buckle ourselves in. Like, I don't know how half of us survived. um because our parents just were not raised to be like what they call soft parenting.
right,
It was like,
right.
dude, sink or swim, you better learn this stuff quick. We don't have time for crybabies, and all these things. um but I also think that there's like a balance. Like, yes, we want to grow to create like really independent and strong people, but we assume that emotions are negative, and I think that's where the disconnect is. If we can learn
Right.
how to embrace emotions and know that they are not a sign of weakness, that in fact it really takes more strength to cry in front of somebody and be vulnerable than it does not to, we can make some really
Absolutely.
incredible people. And I mean, we have to also include men because I'm raising a man and I don't want him to be what I call emotionally constipated like I was, because I suffered for a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these cards are like really, I'm in a different place than some of you guys may be. And I had to suffer a long time until I could figure out ways to get the answers that she's basically giving you within like 30 seconds. Like, you just have to answer three things. Go look through. I found my stuff in my birth certificate. It has the time and the date and, all that. So you don't have to ask your parent if your parents are not, living. If you have a birth certificate, it most likely will be on there, and that's all you need. And literally, she was like, go check your email and it's going to be there in like 30 seconds. And like, these answers will be there. I know a lot of this stuff, but I like, the first thing that came to my mind, Panda, when I got them was, how come you didn't exist like 10, 15 years ago? I had to do this the hard way, like crying and like, finding people that would believe that something, I needed some help and I wasn't crazy, but I had to like work through some stuff.
I think it's because you have that experience, you can help others. If you've never had that experience as a young person of not being able to express your emotions, to have to really put a bubble around yourself, you can't help someone who is going through it. And I do think the men that are being raised now, um, and I think the men in their 20s right now need so much of this understanding,
Mhm.
um, that I hope they find it. And Garfield is just lucky to have you as his mom to be able to be sensitive to his feelings and to encourage him to simply be him.
Yeah. Yeah. And my
Yeah.
husband's just like we've been around family. They're like, no, 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 we don't cry. And I was like, in our house, we do. Let him cry. And then I tell him, we do not let sadness steal our joy. Okay. I was just like, it's
Beautiful.
okay to be sad, but we can't stay sad. Like,
Yeah.
then that's, I think, where we need to start educating ourselves, because a lot of the time we react because we just haven't dealt with our own stuff. We get triggered, or we just don't know that we are just different. I know I'm severely empathic, so I don't really need my son to tell me a lot because I can sense it. Like, I'm so empathic that like, even on Zoom calls when people get emotional where they're having like a heartbreak, I'm like, I gotta like step off, because like, I'm like,
Yes.
I start pressure putting. I was like, you're making, like, I start getting teared up, and
Yes.
I'm starting to, no, 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 I'm sorry. I like, because I want to help you, I'll give you a hug. So for those of you, if you're catching this, whether you're catching this on the replay or you're watching this live, and you're like, I need this in my life, I put the thing for those of you who are on Instagram. Y'all can't see the actual URL, but it's super simple. Panda Hershey's like the candy bar.com/true north. So I'm gonna make it smaller actually. Hold on. Panda, I'm about to fix this real quick. You keep talking. So that brought up a good point that I want to just verify. Like some people don't want to assume your product is unisex, like it's universal. You be a man or woman. I know that I primarily
Absolutely.
target women, but
Absolutely. And I feel like the language that I've chosen for each of the sentences, the astrological signs or styles are not male or female. People think of
yes.
Mars as male energy, and I describe it as I put my heart into. And then there is the style of whatever it is. For you, it's honing something into beauty and elegance. A guy can do that just as well as a woman. He might apply it differently, like, I want to throw the most beautiful pass ever to my wide receiver. Whereas you are like, I'm going to make the most perfect automation ever, and it's going to be so dang efficient. No one's going to beat this. So, like,
Mm.
it's unisex, and or there is no gender associated with these. And one of the things that you said, I just wanted to add a little something to it, is that we are born this way. And what I think of in understanding these tools that we have is that we become skilled. It's like these are the tools in our backpack. This is what I'm good at. And it's like being a martial artist, where if you're fighting or matched up with someone who is really skilled, you can like go whole hog in it. But when you're coming to meet someone on the mat who is a beginner, you you don't have to have everything, you don't have to show them your best moves. You are able to meet them where they are. And as we get older, we learn how to use these tools in new situations and new, um, with new people. And we get really good at testing our abilities to use all of these skills. And we also get to look for opportunities where our skills, our talents are welcomed. So, for example, your excitement in getting to make something beautiful and elegant, if you went into a job where they were like, this is the way we do it. We don't want you fixing this. Don't touch that, Anacani. You'd be like, I can't work here. Like, if you know that there is a more beautiful way to do it, they almost can't hold you back from doing it. And so you're always going to um, want to find situations where your passion for doing things just right is welcomed, wherever that is.
Well, and like I learned really quickly that I don't flourish in places that are structured. Like when I have to take those personality tests and they're like, they ask you, would you like to have things the same way all the time? And a certain part of me likes to have structure where like yes, I want to know how to do it. Like so for cooking, I love cooking. Cooking is one of like my happy places, but I can never cook the same thing twice, so I will follow the recipe to the T the very first time, and I taste everything to see like what does this thing do. I'm very meticulous at like learning, and I learn by touching and like doing and tasting. And then when I go to cook it the next day, I cannot cook it the way the recipe shows, because I'm in my mind, I'm like, it would taste so much better if we just did this, or I think it would be so much easier if we did this. And I can't, like, I've tried. I was like, this is how I know I can't be a chef or at a restaurant level, because people would probably get irritated at the fact that like this doesn't taste the same. I was like I can't. So um some people get irritated by it, but I've learned like, you know, I'm Anacani is always going to be, you either like me or you don't. And I had to learn how to just live with the fact that I have to be okay with that. Like, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, even though deep inside, I would love for everybody to love me. But
That's
the
awesome because
breakthrough coach has joined us. Welcome, breakthrough coach. I hope you're enjoying this. I have no idea how long you've been watching, but this is for those of you who are just joining us. This is Panda Hershey. My name is Anacani Walters. We are in the same mastermind and we have combined forces for this Black Friday because I wanted to talk about her Black Friday offer. It is freaking fantastic. It's amazing. It's mind blowing. And we're really so aligned with what I encourage women to embrace. And she's basically giving you the key. Like, so you can have the cake and and the cookie, like basically together. Um, she has this beautiful, beautiful offer. So Panda, just for the people who are joining again, explain like real quick again your Black Friday offer. I'm going to scroll through your sales page and that way people can understand like real quick again before we go to like a next question that I have for you.
so I see this as the simplest way to understand your wiring, but it's through using astrology. Because what astrology can do is kind of break you down into like 14 pieces. How you do things, what excites you, what you like, what you are discerning about, how you grow. And by breaking this down and understanding the order in which you experience these tools or use these tools, it helps you understand how you experience life. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you understand, wow, for example, Anacani, you have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine tools in the 20s. You like it takes you a long time to get things together. You are very busy in the beginning. You'll get off in a flash. And then there might be this huge lag of, oh my gosh, like I don't know what to do. I like got things going and now what? And it all comes together, like, at the end, very much at the end, at the very last minute, probably late nights. You were probably write a paper at in college, at the all-nighter queen, and you were fine with it. And, understanding this about ourselves helps us not beat ourselves up. Each one of us is perfect the way we are. What I see in all of these is where we get to take a break, where we get to ask for help, where we say, "You get to take a rest. I'm gonna come in here and, look at what you've got." Like, Anacani, as an entrepreneur, it would be awesome for you to get things going and, get something started. Then you hand it off to your client and let them sit with it for a long time, actually. Like, next meeting, and then they can come back, and then you can, parse through things. That's the Saturn and the moon of discernment and primal instinct, and you can sense, "Okay, where are we with this, and what's the next thing?" And you can talk, and you are great at processing with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this, once you've gotten that feedback, then it's like, "Okay, I'm on it." And I can pull it all together. But it's not a straight line, smooth process. And when you know this about yourself, then you don't beat yourself up when your kid comes in and says, "Can I go to the park now?" And you're like, "Yeah, I did my Mars and Sun stuff. This is the perfect time to go to the park. And then I'm going to come back and do more work, and you're going to be tired."
Hmm.
So, this kind of understanding of ourselves, I think, helps us know what works best for us, and then when we can understand that about someone else that we care about, how we work together, how we might clash, how we can support each other. And like I kind of said in the beginning, this is all about having great relationships and connections with the people in our lives. That's what I really want. It's
And I
helped me.
think even knowing that that also applies to ourselves, because we have to like learn to love ourselves and like, deal with ourselves before we can then deal with other people. That's why it was really important for me to learn some of these things of what triggers me, what makes me do some of the things that I know people really don't like about me, because I knew that I was going to be in a relationship and I wanted it to last. And like, I have it's, it's a relationship, like there's two parts. And so I wanted to make sure that on my side, like, dang, I know that I'm not good at that. Like, um, and always trying to just be, even if it's just a little bit better than I was yesterday. Like if there was something that, hurt my husband's feelings or irritated or something that I could sense after the fact because I'm empathic, that I was like, oh, I don't know what I did or what I said. It didn't sound that bad to me on my side, but apparently to him, it was, I don't know why, I don't know how to fix it. But then I get remorse, and then we go into this like silence, and it's just, those are awful experiences to have. So I really bought this, you guys. One, so that I can see if there was any insights that I could have for myself as an entrepreneur, how I work with clients, and the best way to like do better. And then I have a 3-year old, and I'm now having to figure out a balance of work and mom on a full time basis, because we don't have any plans for daycare or preschool right now. And I told Panda before we went live, like, my son is incredibly emotional to a lot of people, and it feels like high demanding. Like, he does not like it. Now that he understands what it means when I'm on my computer, he'll tell me, Mommy, I don't want you to work. I want, or like, I'm sad because we cannot go to the park because you're working. Like, so I'm starting to notice these patterns, these behavioral changes, and I'm like, I gotta work at some point. What can I do? How can we work together so that I can give you what you need, so that you can give me some time, so that then we can be happy together? Because I don't want to be resentful as a mompreneur. I don't want to also have that leak into my relationship with my husband. And so like Panda, this was really why I chose to do. I was like, this is a no-brainer, you guys. How much is the offer? It's like $47.
48, yeah.
$48, yeah. Um,
And you can
and
get unlimited cards for 6 months, like cards for
yeah,
as many people as you want for 6 months, which I
so
think is so
like
cool, and
I
access to
really
the
wanted it for
the
myself,
videos for
my
forever.
husband, and my kid.
Yeah.
So one question I do have, because some people that I know that I work with are religious, like, they believe in God and stuff. And sometimes it's like yoga. I have this battle where they really like don't want to do yoga because they are like thinking that they have to learn Sanskrit and it's going to go against their values as Christians or Catholics. And so it's really this understanding that yoga doesn't have to do with any of that stuff. You can use yoga as your own way of meditating, taking that time to have an interdialogue with whatever higher power you believe in. It does not have to be what the traditional like yoga practices of how it was invented. That's just the history of how it became now, but it doesn't have
Yeah.
to any ties to anything. It is what you make of it. And so I think astrology to a certain extent is that. I to me, I and correct me if I'm wrong, I see that there's a huge distinction between astrology and tarot reading, and I think some people get them confused.
So, um, I I will just talk to how I see astrology, and it is that people noticed patterns. It's all about pattern recognition. And, the Farmer's Almanac, for example, is a lot of that is based on what the sun and the moon are doing. And it's very planet and almost astrology based, but it is the study of the movement of the planets uh, and the Earth around the sun, when people finally understood that that's what it was, is um, is just ages old. And they noticed patterns. They were able to plant because of the recognition of these patterns. They recognize moon cycles, our, women's periods, the
Hmm.
tidal cycles, all related to that. And this is, I think, not a religious thing. It is simply this pattern recognition, and it's a physical. I feel like there is physical evidence for this, but I can't I can't pull it out right now. And actually, astrology was a science that was studied in Europe up until, was it the 1700s or something like that? And even I was reading in Richard Feynman, who's a Nobel laureate, that, like, I believe it's Kepler, Johannes Kepler, very well-known physicist, was also an astrologer. So I feel like it is not going against anyone's religion to take what's helpful and leave the rest. And really, if you find something that helps you be your best self, why wouldn't you do it?
Hmm. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you one more question. If someone who's watching this, whether it's on the replay or they've caught it live, was on the fence about, getting the true north and the cards and stuff, what would you say to like the woman who inside knows that she really needs this for clarity, but is kind of scared to take that next step? Maybe it's because they're scared about what they may learn about themselves or another person, like maybe fear that they might do one for themselves and their partner and they're like, what if I find out we're not compatible, kind of situation, or just scared in general of like having too much self knowledge. Like I'm just trying to think on like the top of my head, like things that I would come up with if I hadn't gone through like with some of the stuff that I've done. What would you say to that woman to take like to just be like, okay, take a deep breath and go for it?
Yeah. I would say awareness, like you mentioned earlier, is foundational. When you understand a problem, when you ask your child or when you ask someone, why are you crying? Why are you upset? Or what would make you happy? These cards can at least get you pointed in the wrong direction. If your teenage daughter, and I say this one because it actually happened to me, I had to go to bed when I was in the corporate world, at, like, 9:30 because I had to get up at 4, but her time to come and talk to me was at, like, 10:30 at night, and I did not want to shut her down, I didn't want to yell at her, and if I had had these cards at the time, I would have said, "You know what? You just leave a note for me. If it's really important, go ahead and wake me up. I understand why you have to tell me, because why you have to tell me at this time, because it doesn't occur to you until now, and I accept and love that about you." And I don't think there is such a thing as uh, um, total incompatibility. It is more about accepting someone as they are and recognizing it's not you. And when both people can work with that, it becomes an opportunity for closeness and intimacy at a level that you couldn't have had otherwise. And what I find from people who've worked with this system is that the language is just so neutral that it helps people begin to have a discussion that does not relate to people's feelings and gives them a different perspective of what the other person values and how it might be different from theirs. Oh, you're muted, or I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry, because I coughed when you said when you started talking in the beginning, and I was like, oh my gosh, let me mute myself. I'm so glad we did this. I don't want to make it too long, but I am
Yeah,
putting a
this is
poll
perfect.
in for Facebook, just to see how people are feeling. And it really is about like how connected do you yourself feel right now with your like inner compass? Because, like I said, I'm coming from a very different place. I'm 44. I started doing my shadow work back when I was in my early 30s. Yeah, about that time. Um, because I just was tired of constantly being triggered and like when I tell you I was emotionally like constipated, I was like the first time I ever had to say I love you to another person that was not like blood related was like one of the hardest things I have ever done. Like it made them so uncomfortable because I couldn't get it out. I wanted to say I love you out loud, but it was like this really weird experience and it was like all this emotion, but I couldn't get the words out. And then I would get angry with myself, like, what is wrong with you? That I got so angry that I got emotional. And then I hated crying in public because emotions were in my mind like a negative association, like it was a sign of weakness. That's how I was brought up. So then I would get even more angry because now I made myself cry in front of this person. And all I'm trying to do is say three words. And they were like, it's like, they're like, you're making me feel like we're breaking up. Like, and it carried on and just was like awful. So I went from that to like now I cry at everything. Like I told my yoga therapist, I was like, dude, Tabitha, if you're watching this, Tabitha Solomonson is my yoga therapist. She owns a local business. Um, and I told her, I was like, excuse my language, if anybody, muffin ears, I was like, you fucking broke me, dude. Like, even my husband's like, what is wrong with you? Like, I was like, I don't know. I think Tabitha broke me. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just like nothing, everything like that I would normally be okay with. Like, all of a sudden, like, she just pushed this on button and was just like, no, you're gonna speak, stand up for yourself. You're gonna let people know when they are like offending you. You're not going to keep it to yourself, and it's just going to be like it's just this flood of emotions that I had
What
been
a
like
real
stuffing in for like 30 years. But now I'm just like so much more relaxed and I'm not feeling this weight of all the trauma and all the baggage of stuff that I was holding on to from my past. And it's like I can talk about it. I understand that there was a reason for me having to go through some of the stuff. And my job now is to try to help people not suffer the way that I did. Like, you don't have to wait for tragedy to make like these bold decisions. Like, you have the power to
now.
do it now. And I really think that these cards can do that for people to kind of give you that push to be like, this is how I am. This is how I'm, you know, naturally wired. What do I now need to do to change if that's what you want? Otherwise, then it's this freeing option to not beat yourself up for knowing that, well, this is how I do things so that you can communicate that to the other person. And then they're like, okay, well, I can work with that. Like, we can we do something
Exactly.
else? Can we figure something? Because that's not gonna work. Like, I already know, like, I'm not gonna react that way because that's just not how I do things. I'm telling you right now, this is how what's going to happen. And this is what I don't want to happen because I know that this is going to be the outcome. So, like, what can we do to make this a better situation for you and me? But I think it's so much more empowering to not just go from like, I know how I work now and what triggers me and why I make certain decisions or say certain things or react certain way, but to have that missing puzzle piece of the person that I want to improve my relationship on, to be like, all right,
Yeah,
now we have a full puzzle. Let's start putting this thing together and having fun at the same time, like a true puzzle.
exactly. Exactly.
Awesome.
This has been so fun, Anacani. Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to have you in here. And if anyone has
Okay.
any questions, they can definitely reach out to me. You can DM me on Instagram or, yeah, that's probably the easiest way
And those of you
to
watching
get hold of me.
on Instagram, I just put up Panda's Black Friday offer, pandahershey.com, True North, .com / True North. And I'm looking at the counter now. Y'all can see it if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, that you literally have 1 day, 3 hours, 39 minutes, and 18. So don't sleep on this. Like, if any of this, you catching this live, just do it. Like it's $48. And those of you who are in need of, trying to figure out what your content should look like, I've been going hard on Black Friday, but y'all, I haven't been spending all my time. I've been doing stuff with my 3-year-old. He would be like off the walls, like in here screaming if I had to actually be here every time you guys see me post. I've been making those reels, but like within minutes. Why? Because I have an entire system that basically helps align what I want to say, but in a very copied, like marketing wording that I just wasn't built to learn, so that it's this combination of blending what I want to say, what I know, and then how to, so that you guys can hear it the way it needs to be heard so that you understand what I'm trying to communicate. And that's basically what it is. So the Align CEO, I mean, sorry, the AI CEO Accelerator is just a live workshop. You get tons of cool stuff. If you're watching this on Facebook, I put both of our links so that you can easily go to both of them. Panda's going to actually have a live session as part of her Black Friday, as well as I am. Um, I'm just scrolling through so y'all see it. Panda.
You actually built an app that when people sign up for your offer, they just walk through step by step. It's not complicated. And Anacani, that's amazing,
I
um,
really did
to
that
make
for
it
you
so
guys because
simple.
I wanted to give you a secret in experience to vibe coding, because most of the people that I know I am trying to work with don't even know what vibe coding is yet. And so it really is this, I created an app to basically give you a taste of the full system, because I also know that a lot of you guys overthink, procrastinate, get stuck in analysis paralysis. And I know that social media and marketing is super overwhelming, especially if you're empathic, especially if you are already spending a lot of hours, because we are tend to be service based. Like, when are we supposed to have time to do this? Marketing, all the hats, and parent, and be a spouse, and do all the things. So I built this because I needed to solve that problem for myself. And I'm doing it. You guys are seeing it in action. I have two separate businesses that I've taken a step back because we just moved from Japan. Literally, this will be our fourth. We just finished our third week. We're starting our fourth week. So we've barely been in, not even a month yet in the States. Um, and I've been able to maintain this flow because of the fact that I have a system. It's repeatable. But for those of you who are still on the fence, don't know if like you are ready for the full system, I'm giving you a small taste. And if you like this live, you like my vibe, like I said, I'm not for everybody, then you also get a 90-minute session where I take you step by step. But the app does it for you. You just have to answer questions, but sometimes you need a little hand holding through that. And that's what the live session. There's two sessions, a morning flow and an evening flow. I try to make it on 2 different days. So if you can't make one, you get the other. You get replays for both. You can attend both. I made it as super simple as possible. And my offer is like a no-brainer. It's $27. You're never going to see something like that. I don't even know if I'll offer it that price ever again. But for those of you who are ACM, graduates, you guys know the power of it. You guys, I put the testimonials out there so you guys can see people have gone through it. It's transformational and it helps me stay sane. So if you're like, how do you do this over 3 businesses and still like look like you're normal? It's because I have a system. So, and Panda now with her thing is just going to help me align so much more so that I can, like, this adjustment period from being a part-time mom at home to now a full-time with a full-on running business. I'm reinventing myself again because my service-based businesses, I'm having to like reboot, and it's going to take a minute for me to get back into those two. It's going to help me because I need to learn how to deal with my other two better halves, basically. So
You will.
yeah, I'm super excited, you guys. I'll be there at her December live call. You get it as part of her offer. Again, it's super easy, guys. Panda like the animal, Hershey's like the chocolate bar.com/True North. And like you already see her vibe. It's the product speaks for herself. You guys see my results. It if you know me, y'all know that this is incredibly accurate. Um, and it's going to be life changing. So I hope you guys jump on it. And if you don't, you can still catch Panda, follow her on her social. She's always sharing like the astrological events and kind of give you a little bit of a smaller taste if you're not ready for the full thing. But I feel sorry if you guys don't join because it's going to be amazing and everybody needs this. Everybody. And if you're a man, please join. Don't get discouraged by Empower for
You
Women.
are welcomed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hope to see men because I want you guys to also be there and enjoy this insight too. So I'm gonna be sharing it with the men that I know need it. All right, you guys have a fabulous good night. Tomorrow her sale ends, my sale ends, and we can't wait to see you guys on the inside. As always, I'll let Panda do her sign off, but continue to be you, continue to be beautiful, continue leading from your heart, and I will catch you on my side, you know, at some point. And Panda,
That's perfect, Anacani. This is all about all of that and just yeah, being the my business is called Your Full Expression because that's all I want for everyone is to live the fullest, best expression of yourself. So, have a great evening.